You just paid $9 for a plane ticket. $9, less than your lunch, less than a movie ticket. And in exchange, you got a metal machine weighing over 40 tons, lifted 6 miles into the sky, flown across an ocean, operated by a trained pilot, fed by a crew, insured for millions of dollars, and somehow the airline didn't go bankrupt. In fact, they made a profit. How? Stick around, because what you're about to learn about the airline industry will change the way you look at every ticket you ever buy again. The story begins. Imagine you're standing at an airport counter. You just found a ticket to Dubai for 6,000 rupees, barely enough to cover a decent dinner for two. You laugh, thinking the airline must be losing money on you. You feel like you've won a lottery. But here's the secret nobody tells you: that airline is not losing money. In fact, they've built an entire empire on selling seats like yours for almost nothing, and making millions from people sitting just a few rows away from you. To understand this, we need to travel back, not to an airport but to a boardroom decades ago, where a group of airline economists sat down and asked a simple but revolutionary question. What if we stopped thinking of a flight as one product and started thinking of it as 100 different products, sold to 100 different kinds of people at 100 different prices? That single idea changed the entire aviation industry forever. It's called dynamic pricing, and it's the invisible engine behind every impossibly cheap ticket you've ever seen. The empty seat problem. Here's something most passengers never think about. An airline's biggest enemy isn't fuel costs, it isn't competition, it isn't even bad weather. It's an empty seat. Think about it logically. Once a plane is scheduled to fly, almost all its costs are already locked in. The pilot's salary, the fuel required for that route, the landing fees, the maintenance, the airport gate, these costs exist whether the plane flies with 50 passengers or 180 passengers. The airline has already agreed to fly that route. The plane is going up whether it's full or half empty. So here's the brutal math: an empty seat generates 0 rupees. 0, but a seat sold for even a small amount generates something, and in a business built on razor-thin margins, something is infinitely better than nothing. This is why airlines would rather sell you a seat for 6,000 rupees than fly with it empty. Even if that price barely covers the fuel burned to carry your body weight across the sky, it's still revenue they wouldn't have had otherwise. It fills a seat that would have flown empty regardless. And this is the crucial part: not everyone on that plane paid 6,000 rupees. That's where the real story begins. The same plane, 100 different prices. Picture the cabin of that Dubai flight. Row 14, seat A, a college student who booked 8 months in advance, snagging a promotional fare during a flash sale. Row 22, seat C, a family of 4 who compared 5 different airlines and grabbed the cheapest available option 2 months before their trip. Row 3, seat A, a businessman who booked his ticket 4 days ago because a client meeting suddenly came up, and he had no choice but to pay whatever the airline demanded. All 3 are sitting on the exact same aircraft, breathing the same recycled air, eating similar meals, landing at the exact same time, but their tickets could differ by a factor of 10. The student paid 6,000 rupees, the businessman paid 60,000. This is not random, this is not accidental. This is a carefully engineered pricing system called yield management, and it is one of the most sophisticated pricing algorithms in any industry on Earth, more complex in some ways than stock market trading systems. Airlines use massive computer algorithms that analyze historical booking data, current demand, competitor pricing, fuel costs, seasonal trends, even local events and holidays to constantly adjust prices, sometimes multiple times within a single hour. The system knows that a student booking 8 months early is price sensitive and will shop around, so it offers a low fare to lock in that booking early. The system also knows that a businessman booking 4 days before a flight with a fixed meeting he cannot miss has almost no price sensitivity at all. He needs to fly whatever it costs, so the algorithm charges him accordingly. In essence, the airline isn't selling seats. It's selling urgency, flexibility, and desperation, 3 invisible commodities that are worth far more than the physical seat itself. The profit isn't in the ticket, it's in the ecosystem. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting. Even with dynamic pricing, ticket sales alone often aren't enough to guarantee airline profitability. So airlines built an entire ecosystem of additional revenue streams around that one seat you're sitting in, an ecosystem most passengers barely notice. Think about your last flight. Did you pay for extra baggage? Did you select a specific seat like an aisle or a window? Did you buy food on board because the flight didn't include a free meal? Did you pay for priority boarding or faster check-in or in-flight Wi-Fi? Every single one of these is called ancillary revenue, and for many low-cost airlines, ancillary revenue is not a bonus, it's the actual backbone of their profit model. Some budget airlines generate close to half of their total profit not from ticket sales but from these add-ons. The cheap ticket gets you in the door. Everything after that is where the real business happens. This is exactly why budget airlines design their entire booking experience the way they do. That base fare you see advertised, the shockingly low number that made you click buy, is essentially a marketing hook. It's not designed to be profitable on its own. It's designed to get you emotionally committed to the purchase. Once you've committed, you're far more likely to accept the extra charges that follow: baggage fees, seat selection, meals, priority boarding, travel insurance. Each of these individually feels small. Combined, they transform an unprofitable 6,000 rupee ticket into a genuinely profitable transaction. The cargo you never see. But there's another secret hiding beneath your feet, quite literally, on almost every commercial flight, and most passengers have no idea it exists. Beneath the passenger cabin, in the belly of nearly every commercial aircraft, sits a cargo hold. And that cargo hold is often filled with freight, packages, mail, machine parts, medical supplies, even perishable goods like flowers and seafood, all being shipped internationally. Airlines routinely rent out this cargo space to shipping companies, and it generates a substantial secondary income stream for every flight, completely separate from ticket sales. This means that even if every single passenger paid a heavily discounted fare, the airline could still be quietly profiting from the cargo sitting beneath their feet the entire time. Your cheap ticket essentially subsidizes a delivery service you never see, and that delivery service subsidizes your cheap ticket right back. It's a hidden economic loop that keeps the entire system balanced. The loyalty trap. There's also a longer-term strategy at play, one that stretches far beyond a single flight. Airlines desperately want you to become a repeat customer, and they've built entire loyalty ecosystems to make that happen. Frequent flyer miles, co-branded credit cards, elite status tiers, exclusive lounges. Here's the part that surprises most people. For many airlines, their loyalty and mileage programs are so valuable that the airline effectively operates as a financial services company that happens to also fly planes. Airlines sell miles in bulk to credit card companies and banks, who then offer those miles as rewards to their cardholders. This generates enormous, stable, predictable revenue for airlines, revenue that has nothing to do with jet fuel, ticket pricing, or empty seats at all. So when you accept that cheap ticket and sign up for the airline's loyalty program, you're not just a passenger anymore. You're becoming a long-term financial asset. Every future flight, every future credit card swipe, every mile you accumulate and eventually redeem, it all feeds back into an enormous, interconnected revenue machine. The risk nobody talks about. Of course, none of this comes without risk. The airline industry remains one of the most financially fragile industries on Earth. Fuel prices can spike overnight. A pandemic can ground an entire fleet for years. A single geopolitical event can shut down entire routes. Airlines operate on profit margins so thin that even the largest, most successful carriers in the world often report profit margins in the low single digits, sometimes as low as 2 or 3%. This is precisely why the cheap ticket strategy exists in the first place. Airlines cannot afford to fly empty planes waiting for high-paying customers who may never show up. They need volume, they need seats filled, they need cash flowing in constantly, even if that cash comes in small amounts from price-sensitive travelers, because an empty seat represents pure, unrecoverable loss. The final picture. So the next time you buy a shockingly cheap plane ticket and wonder how on earth the airline can afford to fly you across the world for less than the cost of your monthly phone bill, remember this: you are not seeing the whole picture. You are seeing one carefully calculated piece of a much larger financial puzzle. You are sitting in a seat that was priced using an algorithm more sophisticated than most stock trading systems. You are flying on a plane that's also quietly earning money from cargo beneath your feet. You are being gently guided toward extra purchases that transform your discounted ticket into a genuinely profitable transaction. And you are potentially becoming a long-term loyalty customer whose future spending will be worth far more to the airline than the ticket you just bought. The cheap ticket isn't a mistake. It isn't generosity. It isn't the airline losing money to make you happy. It's a calculated invitation into a much larger, much smarter financial ecosystem, one built over decades, refined by data, and designed to turn a $9 seat into a sustainable, profitable business. And now, the next time someone asks you, how do airlines make money when tickets are so cheap? You'll be the one explaining the secret behind the sky.